So I had an idea for a Halloween display for our entryway, and so I've been hunting around for the perfect spooky floral for this next project. And I'm actually going to work on this project in our kitchen because we have this nice big counter space in the center. But before I get started, I'm going to lay down some plastic because the first step to this project is to use some paint. So the first thing we're going to do is paint these planters. So I'm just going to remove the tag. So what we want to do is give these planters kind of a creepy, grungy look. So I have a cup of water that's filled about to here, and I added just a little bit of some white craft paint and even less of black craft paint so that I get a nice watery gray colored paint. So the first thing I'm going to do is paint this onto the surface. Now I'm not worried about the drips. That's why we have the plastic. But the whole point of this is just to kind of give this a washed look. And then our next step is going to be to take a rag and just carefully wipe around the planter. And we're going to keep this kind of all in the same direction just so that it has a nice smooth look. And while that's drying, I'm just going to go around a little bit on the inside so that the inside has the coloring as well. So I'm just going to let this sit and dry. And because I have multiple of these that I plan to put together, I am going to do this step to them all at the same time. So I'll just do these really quick. So the next step is going to be to add kind of a cracked look to the planter. So to achieve that, I'm just going to use a little tiny tool. You could use the end of a nail. Start just kind of like etching in some cracks. And I don't know if those show up well on the camera, but I'm going to continue doing that in a few places. You can go as crazy with these as you want, or just add a couple, or skip this step altogether. It's kind of up to you. But you want the lines to be quite jagged, and they don't all have to start at the top. So usually I kind of move my hand randomly from side to side. And that creates kind of a nice cracked look. Now it doesn't show up much yet, but with our next step, they should show up more. So in this cup now, I have a mixture of water, black paint, and a few different shades of green. One that's kind of a moss and one that's like a grass green. So now, as you can see, this is giving it a lot more of a grungy appearance. Very kind of a muddy, spooky coloring. So the planters are complete. So after they dry, we'll start working on the next part of the project. So next, we're going to add some of this fun floral. As you can see, I kind of went around choosing some very interesting looking plants for our spooky planters. So the next thing to do is just add a little bit of this floral foam into this container. And as usual, I just use a steak knife to cut these. So I'm going to start adding some of these fun, very Halloween feeling plants to our spooky planters. So the first one I'm going to add is this nice purple one, but I actually wanted to add a little bit of glitter to the center. So On the tabletop right here, I have some paper towels just to collect the extra glitter. And then I'm gonna brush some glue that dries clear towards the center of this flower. I don't think I want it spanning too much of the flower, so I'm just gonna kind of fade it out a little bit and just barely catch a hint of the ones towards the outer edge. But I do want it a little bit heavier in the central portion. Just gonna sprinkle on some of my glitter. And then I'm just gonna kind of tap the stem, get the glitter to kind of move around in there, make sure it coats all of our pieces. I think that's pretty much most of the loose glitter, so I'm just gonna set this little guy right here. So I want the flower to stick up probably about like this, so I'm just going to use a wire cutters and remove the lower part of the stem. I think I'll have this be the front of the flower, and I want the flower to kind of be facing forward a little bit, just so it almost looks like it's looking at us. So I'm gonna bend it like that and place that into the floral foam. And then next I'm going to add some of this moss underneath just to cover up the floral foam. And then finally I have these little spooky labels that I printed out. So I came up with fun names for each one of these interesting flowers. So here I have my little label all cut out. And so I'm just going to tape a toothpick to the back of this to give it some sturdiness, but also to give it something to poke into the floral foam. Decide where I want to have that here. And there we have one spooky plant. I'm going to quickly finish up the rest of those and show you what they look like.